Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah Perkei Halacha. Noshim she'amru lahem oivdei gecholim. Women that the goyim said to them, Tunu lono achas mikem v'nitma oiso. Give us one of you, and we shall defile her. And we go to the Peirush to be with her and live with her. V'im lo nitma es kulchem. Otherwise, we will defile all of you. Mitamu kulon. Then all are obligated to resist. They should become defiled. But one is not permitted to give them any individual from Israel. The Kesef Mishnah writes that the source of this din is in the Mishnah in Trumos, at the end of Perek Ches. And he writes further in the name of Chuvas HaRashbo that even one of them was already defiled. Even so, you don't give her over to the non-Jews. On this rule that you don't give over a woman even if she's already defiled, they pointed out in the Yerushalmi that non-Jews that wanted to make Tomei, defile a piece of Truma, and they said to the Yisrael, give us this one and we'll make it Tomei, otherwise we'll make all the breads Tomei. Let them do it all, but don't you cause it to happen. But if there's one kika that is Tomei, then you can give it to them. And the question is, what's the difference between Tomei and a woman? And they explained that the bread, even if it becomes Tomei, and that second time, nothing happened to it. If it was even it was a lesser tumah, and now it's becoming a greater tumah, it doesn't matter. There's no difference in its status as far as using it. You can't use it anyway. So you find him sochem. But a woman, even if she was already tomei, still, each time she has a relationship, there's a new aveira, and there's another difference by a woman who is defiled. You can say that maybe she did tshuva, and therefore that's possible only by a person, but not by a piece of bread. The Dogam Amov asked the question, according to the Rashba, the Yerushalmi, it says the exact opposite. If it was tomei, they should give it over, and it should not make everything tomei. And if they had amongst them a Jewish slave, which is called a shifra knanis, who is obligated with certain mitzvahs, they should give her over, and they should not become tomei. And the later commentaries explain that the text of the Rashba and the Yerushalmi was if the bread was tomei, and not if it was already tomei, meaning the base of kikar with a kuf with it became kfar instead of kikar, and therefore Yerushalmi is not talking by a woman, only by a bread, and therefore the girsa, the correct text is if she was already tmeyo, because if it's talking about a kikar, there's no there's no additional tumah involved. So it's talking about it's actually talking about the bread the entire time, not about the woman at all. The Rambam continues. If the goyim said to them, to a group of Jews, again, will give us one of you, we will kill him. Otherwise, we'll kill you all. They should all be killed, and they should permit themselves to be killed and not give over any specific individual. If they specifically specified somebody, give us so and so, we'll kill you. If he was liable to the penalty anyway, then they should give him over. Now, Sheva ben Bichi rebelled against David, and he announced that he doesn't have any portion with David HaMelech, and not an inheritance with anyone in the household of Yishai, and he ran away, and there he fortified himself. Now the people of Yoyah, and the Crazy and Placey, and all the great warriors of David went to run after him, and they encircled the city. A wise woman came to Yoav and asked him, why does he want to destroy the inheritance of Hashem? So Yoav said she doesn't want to destroy the whole city. He came only here because there's a person from Har Ephraim, Sheva ben Bichri is his name, and he rebelled against the king. Give us him alone and we will go. when they heard that they were only asking for Sheva and Bichi, they cut off his head and they threw it out to Yoav. And then Yoav left the city. So we learn that you can give over somebody who's liable for the death penalty in order to save the rest. But one does not tell them to do so to begin with. Whether you can do it or not, you don't say so. If that person is not obligated, is not liable to the death penalty, they should all be killed and not be given over one soul from Yisrael. In the Yerushalmi, you find that if the Goyim said a specific person, you can give him over. Amar Reish Lakish as he was liable to death, like Sheva and Bichi. Rabbi Yochanan says, even if he's not liable for death. And they had said there was an occurrence by one person, that the Malchus, the people in charge, the rulers wanted to kill him, and he ran away to Lud, to Abishur and Levi, and the king's soldiers surrounded the entire city. They should give him over, and Abishur and Levi gave him over. And after that action, Eliyahu Hanavi did not come to Abishur and Levi, even though he used to come before. Abishur and Levi fasted many fasts, and till Eliyahu came and told him, meaning, do I then give myself over to a person who gives Jews to be killed by others? So he said to him, I did, as it says in the Mishnah. So Eliyahu Hanavi said the Mishnah is the din, but Chassidim don't give over even those who are Chayav Misa. The Rambam here passes like Reish Lakish, even though they are Klal Halacha like Rabbi Yochanan. When the verses Reish Lakish, here the Halacha like Reish Lakish, who say only if he's Chayav Misa. I guess the Mishnah gives some reasons for it. One, because when we're in doubt, we're more stringent, and we don't give a person over only if he's definitely liable, like Sheva and Bichi. And two, because the Brisa there seems to agree with Reish Lakish. They said Sheva and Bichi. And third, that from the passages that Yoav learned, because he raised his hand to get up against the king, meaning without that reason they wouldn't be able to give him over to death. Still, it's not a midas Chasidis by Rabbi Shua and Levi, and therefore the Rambam says that you do not, to begin with, one does not state that one is permitted to do so. Otam, another reason. It says Ba'agos Maimon is the name of Rambam Rottenberg, that the Rambam agrees with Reish Lakish because of the action of Rabbi Shua and Levi, that he gave over a person that's liable to the death penalty. Even so, Eliyahu Hanavi did not show himself to Rabbi Shua ben Levi. On the other side, it's put down Sefer Halikutim, the entire reason that he wasn't showing himself because Halacha is like Reish Lakish. But certainly, if the Halacha would be like Rabbi Yochanan, you can give over even someone who is not liable for the death penalty, that there's no midas chasidus to refrain from transferring over someone else. According to the Rabbi Yehuda, the whole rule of Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, Halacha like Rabbi Yochanan, is only in the Bavli. But in Yerushalmi, Halacha can be Reish Lakish, and that's another way of explanation. The Pri Chodesh questions, how could the Rambam say the Halacha like Reish Lakish? Because of the question of when we're in doubt, we always are more stringent. If the Halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan, it's not a doubt. And he answers, the Pri Adoma answers, that the Kesef Mishnah added and wrote, logic tells us the Halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan when he disagrees with Reish Lakish. What does it mean usually? It's certainly so. But when it comes to life and death, it's not clear that the Halacha is always like Rabbi Yochanan. Therefore, the Kesef Mishnah writes that when it comes to death penalty, we are more stringent. But the Mikori questions, because of Ignovit, we should say like Rabbi Yochanan, they should give over one and the other should be saved. There's two aspects. One person giving over that to be killed and the other people being saved. And the answers that Tzavik Nevoshis Lahachmir is not to give over something to do, you should do it. and therefore the people that are saved, who want to save themselves, cannot turn anyone over. Another proof is from that we paskin that the halacha is like Reish Lakish. And Marach Abulafi says in the name of Rambam Galanti that Goyim that say give us over one and we will defile her, otherwise we'll defile all of them. It doesn't say what will be the rule if they said a specific woman, and if not, all of them will become Tomei. It must be because to become Tomei to a Goyim that there is no obligation that she should ever become Tomei to a Goy, but they choose at will, and therefore you can't give over anyone, and there's no obligation to give her over. That's like Reish Lakish. Only if he's liable to the death penalty, then anyway he's liable to the death penalty, you can give him over. The Chidor writes that it's one, he pushes off this proof, and he writes that the Mishnah does not say this situation because that you would give her over if it's a specific woman, because they're calling Rabbi Yochanan, you don't have to have the person liable for the death penalty. For Rishonim, there are the early commentaries disagree on the Rambam, and they say the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan, that even if that one that the Goyim asked for is not liable for the death penalty, you are permitted to give him over to save everyone else. Therefore, if they say give us so and so, and we will defile her, otherwise we will defile everyone, they should do so, and they should not become Tomei. The Rambam cites both opinions, and the latter commentaries understood that the Rambam is more stringent like the Rambam, not to give over anyone unless he liable Misa like Sheva ben Bichri. From this that the Rambam mentions him as the final conclusion. According to Chidor, the disagreement between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish is in a different situation. There's a question if the non-Jews ask a person who's liable for death according to their law and not according to Torah law, if you can give him over or not. The Bach writes, if he's liable for death penalty from the Torah, like Sheva and Bichri, you give him over, and there's no reason to refrain, even out of righteousness. And if he's liable for Misa, the death penalty only according to non-Jewish law, there you're permitted, but this is not something that should be done because of there's no righteousness in it. Now, according to this agreement between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish is the opinion only if he's liable with the death penalty from the Torah, can you give him can you hand him over, and there's nothing wrong with doing so. But if he's only according to their law liable, it's forbidden. Rabbi Yochanan is the opinion that even if it's according to their law, you can give him over, and there's no righteousness involved by keeping him. The Rambam decided that even somebody who's liable to death penalty min Torah, it's if the more correct aspect is not to give him over, and therefore the Rambam says, like Rabbi Yochanan, that even if he's liable to death according to their laws, you can give him over. And when the Rambam mentions Sheva ben Bichri, he means if he was liable Misa Minat Ben Torah like Sheva ben Bichri. Even though we don't say to begin with that one should transfer a person because of the aspect of righteousness, it's not something one should have on their hands. Case of Mishnah, it says in the Shem of the Ramach, why according to the Rambam shouldn't you give him over to the Goyim? In any case, he will die at the end through their hands, because all the forbiddenness to kill someone to save everyone is because of the reason no one can kill another person, because who says your blood is sweeter? That's only if it's one. If he will die, the second won't be saved. But if that person will die anyway, they won't give him over to the non-Jews, all of them will die. Why should be forbidden to give over? They will die anyway, and there's no benefit. It's not like he's saving themselves. And because the Mishnah says that Ishlak is the opinion that who says your blood is redder or more worthwhile is not the main reason. But the Chazal knew that you cannot kill someone else. It's Yehori V'al And Ishlak is of the opinion that giving over a person to the non-Jews is if we killed him alone ourselves, and therefore even when there's no reasoning, the logic does not dictate you can't give over one to save many, still you're not permitted to do so because it's ritzicha, you're killing one person. Regarding this, the Gezer Mishnah writes that the reason of your blood is redder is not the main idea. That's what the Gezer Mishnah just said. So the Lecha Mishnah questions, you find that the Rambam says logic that your intellect seems to say so is that you do not cause a person's soul to be saved because of someone else. That would seem to infer that he is of the opinion that the reason of red blood is the main reason, not because it was an accepted idea. Lecha Mishnah answers with difficulty that Reish Lakish is talking where they have a way to flee. Therefore, they should try to flee and not to give over that person. The Gemara, which says, who says that your blood is redder, is talking when they have no other way to save themselves if they won't kill him. Therefore, you need the reasoning of why do you think your blood is more important than this other person?